Good evening and welcome to Simply Young. We're so lucky to have our business coach, Linda Dunn. She's been in the direct selling business for almost 25 years now. She's been with several really amazing companies. I actually looked at the different companies that she's been with and who she's worked with and what she's done with the companies. We're really lucky to have Linda. And Linda, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I don't
You're
know that
welcome.
people really know how absolutely incredible you are and how incredible your coaching is, because the style of coaching that you utilize is for people who are really in the business to create amazing careers, and
Yes, yes.
careers that are really outstanding careers, So I'm
Mm,
just feel so grateful to have you and welcome tonight.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah. And so
And yes,
are,
I love this business. I truly love this business.
yeah. So tell me, how
Wonderful.
did you get started? Do you mind if I ask you real quickly?
Oh, not at all. I was a friend of mine led me to a company, actually a skincare company back in the 90s. And I had not been in direct selling before, but I'd been in marketing before. And so my first role was actually in the marketing area, developing processes, catalogs, product information, public relations, all of those things. So I learned that part of the business early, but what I was exposed to were the
Mm,
people in the field. I've always been sort of distant from the customer and from the selling process. But when I learned more about the people and interacted with the emotions that go around forming a business and what sets people apart, what makes them successful, I fell in love with the business model because I learned what was possible. It is absolutely a lucrative career and a business model that's been in place for over 100 years. So it's a tried and true business model that works. So that convinced me this is a place I wanted to stay. So that's
Now, uh,
started.
when you talk about a business model that's been over 100 years, I think Avon is one of the first companies. Is that right?
Absolutely, they're one of the very first ones. Fuller Brush. I mean, there's numerous names that probably most people are too young to recognize, but selling door to door, was the original direct selling model, and coming to the housewife, knocking on doors, getting to know the customer. That was direct selling, and of course
Now,
it's
do people
evolved.
do that? Do people do that still today?
They do. Interestingly enough, in Japan, that company, that very first company I was with, was a Japanese skincare company, and they were branching out into America. But in Japan, everything was sold door to door. Everything, including cars. It's just they always went to the customer, and so that was fascinating to me. But it brought home the fact that it's a person to person business. It
Mm,
has to do with interpersonal relationships. And when someone invites you into their home, that's a very personal process. And so it gives you an opportunity to connect and to share and to be of service. So that's never changed, in
wow.
my opinion.
I think that's a really big thing for people to understand, because I really wanted Simply Young to be authentically like that type of a career for people where they could really create amazing relationships and bonds with people and help them improve their health, see their lives just take off, and also helping them even financially, create, like create the dreams in their life that they truly want, and doing it in a way that we could never ever feel like we're ever selling out our ourselves or our customers or anything like that, because of the quality and the integrity of the products that we, and the research that goes into them, and every aspect of our products. So, that's really exciting to me, and I see that that's where the people that are probably doing the best in this company truly are coming from that place. So
Yes,
thank you.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Now, tell me something. Our topic tonight is creating smart goals. How
Mm.
important are creating smart goals?
Well, beyond the obvious, in that you, without a goal and without a direction and without a target, you don't know when you actually arrive, right? You don't know when you actually hit those milestones, and you don't really have any real focus um, in your business model.
Right.
But beyond that, what I wanted to share tonight was looking a little more closely into that goal setting process, just taking it apart a little bit to get better results. Because without the goals, without that target, um, we're not going to grow. And so goal setting can be a challenge, but when you break it down into bite-sized pieces like we'll do this evening, it becomes easier and actually more fun.
Oh, that's so great. Well, I'm so excited, and I'm just going to let you take the floor. This is exciting.
Thank you. Thanks, Katie. So yeah, let's go on to our first slide, and that is why we set goals. And as I said, creating goals and sharing those goals with others um, within the business is just a helpful process. But it also, interesting enough, helps you link the logic part of your brain with the emotional part. Now, you may want something very badly. You want um, you want your business to represent something to you. Maybe for your family, maybe it's a financial goal you have. Maybe it's an emotional goal. Maybe it's a a recognition goal. Whatever it represents to you, that emotional piece, that reason you do it. When you set goals around it to actually achieve that emotional benefit for you, you're linking that logic part. You're breaking it into bite-sized pieces, and you're making it more probable that it will happen. So that's one reason. The other reason is, well, it beats the alternative of throwing everything against the wall and hoping something sticks. That's a process. That's 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 one way of doing it. Takes a lot of energy to do it that way, and you do hope that something sticks. So it's a little bit more organized than that, and it does beat that. But goals really are our roadmap, and it's our target. It defines what our purpose for our Simply Young businesses are. And when you're setting goals, you're holding yourself accountable. So that's also very important. All right, we'll move on to our next slide.
Perfect.
So I have an acronym, and that's how I put all SMART in all capitals. We're gonna break these SMART goals into parts. And so the first one, S in SMART, stands for specific. And when you're writing down your goals, you want to actually take the time to break it into bite-sized pieces. So you want to ask yourself, who will be involved? Let's get real specific about this goal. Besides myself, who do I need? Who will support my goal? Maybe if you have a team around you, your team may be supporting your goal and be involved with it. Certainly if it's an organizational volume growth goal that you want as a team to grow more, your team will be a part of that. It's obviously going to be maybe your business prospects too. Without those prospects, the growth won't come. Maybe you need your family to help you and to be supportive of this goal. So take time to find out who will be involved with you. The next one is, what do I specifically commit to accomplishing? And this gives your brain something to hold on to. It's a target, if you will, something you can visualize. Lots of people do vision boards. Vision boards are powerful in that it gets your brain, it gets everything about you involved in working toward that goal. So especially if you're a visual person, be very specific about what you want to accomplish. If it's a home, if it's a car, if it's a family vacation, if it's peace of mind, whatever it is, be very specific. And coming back to this particular part of it is a very good place to begin. If you're having trouble setting goals, and not everyone loves setting goals, and sometimes people are better at than others. If it's not a strong area for you, start with this visualization of what specifically do I want to have or to enjoy or to benefit from. where will all this take place? Where am I going to accomplish it? It obviously will be most likely during your product presentation, at team meetings, one-on-one conversations. You'll be working with your website. It might happen on the internet. So where specifically will it all take place? And when will this goal be achieved? What's your target date for accomplishing this particular goal? I'm going to add a couple more here that's not on the slide, but I think it's important, is prioritizing. Out of all the opportunities you have right now, are the ones you've targeted the most important? Are they your priority? And if so, what makes this goal purposeful and significant for you right now? And where do you see yourself as that goal is reached? Can you visualize how you will be, where you will be, who you'll be with when you actually reach that goal? So being as specific as you possibly can helps put all the other processes in place. Next slide. So M stands for measurable. How will you measure your progress? What record keeping do you have? Checking in with the company as to where you are in your processes and your achievement and your progress. So how will you measure it? Are you going to measure it by the number of new recruits, new people joining your team? Will you measure it by your sales volume, by new contacts, new prospects on your list, new customers? Make sure you know exactly how you're going to measure it. And how can you track and celebrate along the way? We want to celebrate small wins on our road to achieving our larger goals. So making sure you're tracking your progress and you're taking time to pause and celebrate along the way is very important. When you celebrate, you reinforce in your brain the processes that you're taking. It reinforces your effort every time you celebrate. So don't forget, don't wait till the end. Celebrate along the way. And then, what do I want to measure along with that? How will you measure it and what specifically will you measure? I'm kind of repeating myself, but what you're measuring, how you're measuring it, and your progress, and how you're tracking and celebrating. And then lastly, how will I know when I've achieved each milestone? So for example, if you have multiple goals, let's say it's a recruiting goal, a sales goal, and maybe a leadership growth goal, making sure that you know exactly how you'll know when each one of those milestones occurs so that you can celebrate. Okay, next one. And A stands for attainable. Now that doesn't mean, is it easy enough for me to get to? Can I really do it? It's just, what makes it realistic? What do you know about yourself that makes this goal realistic? If you weren't a trained, mountain climber, had never been trained, didn't have the equipment, and you said you wanted to climb to the highest peak you could find, that may not be a realistic goal until you were prepared and had practice. So knowing that the goal is within your reach and is realistic for you is the first step. And then looking back on your skills and the resources that are going to support you, how will those skills support me? If you're excellent on the telephone and you know that you have a strong ability to connect people on the phone with the benefits that your products offer them and to listen carefully to what their perceived needs are, and you know how to match those up, then that's a wonderful skill that you know can support your goal. If you're just great with people, that's another great skill. If you're well organized, make a list of every single one of your skills, and you all have many. Write those down. Those are what's going to support the goals that you set for yourself. And if there's some areas that you know will be a stretch for you, if it is going to be a stretch, but you're willing to take it anyway, how is that goal going to stretch you? How will you be? Who will you be? What will you be as a result of stretching to achieve a goal. I call it sort of the boulder to boulder approach, Katie. It's not, you can reach out your foot and with your toe and part of your shoe, you could actually touch that next boulder and get there, as opposed to leaping across a great chasm.
Right.
So they're a stretch, but they're absolutely attainable. So take each of your goals through this little process of making sure they are attainable, at the same time stretching you. Okay?
Yeah.
R stands for relevant. That just means, how is this goal aligned with my current vision for my business? Is it in alignment with what I believe in about myself, about what I want this business to represent? Is this goal in alignment? Does it work together? Is it something that feels like a good fit? What makes this goal important to me right now? Why is this particular goal important as opposed to another one? How would this goal help me achieve my and benefit me and my family? How does it align with my values, my purpose, and my ultimate vision for myself, for my family? And making sure that it's your goal and not somebody else's is also something I would recommend. Is it my goal? Is it relevant to me, or is it someone else's goal for me? And the last T in SMART. Go to the next slide, Katie. It stands for time bound. Here we get specific again. What are my beginning and end dates? When will I start, and when do I want to finish? When will I start and complete this goal? What are my dates? Write them down. When do I want to get started? Is it the fall? Great. This is a great time to be starting new goals. September is a great start, especially in direct selling. After we come off of summer, lots of direct sellers are starting to set new goals for themselves beginning in September. It's typically always worked that way. So a perfect time to start. When will I schedule and work on this goal? Do I have office hours? When do I have time? When do I commit to putting time on my calendar to work on this goal? What days of the week, what times of the day? Scheduling and being very specific about that. And while we're on that topic, having office hours for your business, as opposed to just getting around to it whenever you find a free hour, but really making a commitment and an appointment with yourself to work on your business is critical to your success, especially when you have goals. And trying to estimate how much time will it take to complete. This is just to help you plan. If the goal is a big one, if it's a rank advancement or a certain amount of business sales or number of recruits, build in as much time as you need to complete it. Maybe even give yourself a little extra time, a little contingency, so as not to be disappointed. And who can support me to ensure it's completed on time? If you allow other people, and maybe team up with an accountability partner, I often as a coach act in that capacity, share it with someone who will support you and try to keep you on task. Give them permission to check in and offer support and check to see how you're doing on the goals, and you're on time with your goal setting and with the achieving that goal. So that's what time bound means. It really does need to be confined and noted on a calendar and then stuck to so you've completed on schedule. Next slide. Before you begin to apply the SMART process, the SMART goal process, it's important to take a few minutes just to understand yourself. Where are you right now? What's most important to you before you start setting these goals? What else will you learn about yourself along the way? What else will you achieve along with those goals? Oftentimes, we set a goal to reach out to new people and to sponsor and to build a team, what we actually achieve is the beginning of really strong leadership qualities. Often we want to branch out and find new customers as a goal. What we really achieve along the way is confidence in the product, in the presentation, and in relationship building. So there's lots of benefits, side benefits from achieving specific goals as well. So think about that for a minute. What will I learn about myself? Maybe you'll learn that you have tenacity, you persevere, you don't stop until you get to your goal. Those are tremendous qualities that you'll learn about yourself. What else will I achieve as I move toward my goal? Oftentimes, it's not the goal itself, but what it represents to your family. If it's a financial number, a certain number of sales, it's not the dollars themselves, it's what you can actually provide for your family or people that you love. It's that college education. It's that family vacation that there just doesn't seem to be enough left over at the end of the year for you to take. As I mentioned before, the last step here is to make sure that this goal is yours and not someone else's. Ask yourself that question. Sometimes we're influenced by people who see things that they think that we should be achieving or prioritize in a different way for us. Take the time to make sure that it's your goal, not someone else's. You don't want to end up at the end with that goal and realizing you were on someone else's path, not on your own. Next slide. So applying SMART. And I'll go through this pretty quickly. I'm not going to get into great detail tonight. This can be something that we can learn about maybe at another time, but I want to go over the gist of this. There's a wonderful book out there called Mind Mapping. Have you ever heard of it, Katie? It's by Tony Buzan, B-U-Z-A-N.
I have heard of it.
Called Mind Mapping, yeah. It's a great process if you can take the time to do it. It's to create a visual mind map without judgment. That means without even, assuming or presuming that you can or can't get these various parts of your goal accomplished. Don't prejudge whether or not it's possible. Just mind map everything about your goal. Just visualize it. Let your brain run free, unrestrictedly seek out possibilities. This is great when you're coming up with goals for yourself. And do that in mind. That's a visual mind map. And then from there, capture the action steps that you will need to take in order to achieve the goal you set for yourself. Those action steps can be things like holding a certain amount of events, coming to some of the wonderful meetings and trainings that Katie provides at Simply Young, getting onto these calls, listening to these calls. It can be scheduling a certain number of one-on-one appointments, whatever those action steps are around the goal you've set for yourself. Write those down, capture them. Now for each one of those action steps, let's say it's holding an event. Holding an event for your team, for yourself, in your neighborhood. Excuse me, just a second. Okay. Whatever that action step is, now you want to apply SMART to each one of the action steps. It's a reminder: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. So for each action step you come up with, apply SMART to it. And that helps you break down those action steps. It just makes it more likely to achieve each one of those action steps. So this becomes a system. It really is a system for goal setting by breaking them into pieces, applying SMART to each one. Does that make sense, Katie?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, this is actually really brilliant.
Thank you.
I love it.
Okay, and our last slide. I think it's almost our last slide. So after applying SMART, Did you have a question?
Oh, no, no, no. I didn't know you knew that it came.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this system is going to help you clearly define tasks and the scope of work associated with each one of your action steps, leading to the ultimate goal. It becomes your visual reminder of the opportunities that you can act upon, and it will support you to create the outcomes you expect and the outcomes you deserve. So share your goals and enlist your support team. Who are your support team members? Well, certainly members of your team, Katie and the whole office staff at Simply Young. It could be your family. Share the goals with them. Let them know clearly what you're working toward. Next, take action and review your results weekly. You want to make sure you're staying on track. If you need to make some course corrections, that's perfectly fine. But unless you review often, you won't know whether you're on course or off course. And then commit and invest the time that you need. This takes time. Great goals are worth the time investment. Great, massive goals take time. They're not going to happen overnight. Don't give up on that. Stay the course. Invest the time that's needed for each goal. And celebrate each victory. So important. Remember, it stimulates the desire to continue. Every time you celebrate, you're reinforcing the action steps you're taking. And then share the SMART goal process with others, members of your team. This can be applied at work, other types of industries, jobs. If you have another job, it can be applied in every area of your life. But it's very, very important with your Simply Young business, because once you're comfortable creating these SMART goals, it will lead you forward. It's something you can rely on, and it will be something that will take you from point A to point B and help you achieve the dreams you have. Any questions, Katie? Any thoughts come to mind?
The one thing that really struck me was that this is something that people should be listening to over and over again and utilizing it so that they really ingrain it into their being, so that, like you said, with each time that they're setting goals, whether it's with Simply Young or with anything in their life, their family goals or their, whatever it is, that they can utilize this system, because this SMART system is, it it's just it makes it, this is the kind of a tool that makes it easy to uncover what we really are feeling and what we want in our lives. Because I feel that that's the driving force oftentimes for people. Most people go through their lives and they don't even know what they want. They just go along with kind of the 40-40 club or whatever that comes in their, comes in front of them, rather than them actually going for it. And this is a brilliant system. I just think it's amazing. So I feel like they should listen to this recording over and over again to really get the principles down, to expand and wrap their mind around it, to be able to really ingest it and utilize it and make it happen for them. So
well said.
Question, but it was more a comment on what an amazing tool this is, really, the system.
Excellent. Great. Wonderful. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for allowing me to present it.
Thank you so much. One thing I wanted to talk about was that, when you come into Simply Young, that you want to share this with them. You get it with your coach.
Oh, well, clearly you're doing fine here. Yes, I'm offering Simply Young representatives the ability to have a complimentary coaching session with me. So it's about a 30-minute call, and it's a great way to introduce coaching, but we actually get things accomplished too. We work on areas of the business that you want to work on. So it is an actual coaching session, and I'm happy to provide that for all of you. So just take me up on it. Just call me or email me or contact Katie, and we'll get that on the calendar.
That's fantastic. As a matter of fact, I've got a couple of people that we're going to be sending you probably tomorrow. So
fantastic. I look forward to it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate you. And for everybody out there, thank you for taking the time. I know how important this is to all of you. Thank you. Bless you all.
Thank you, Katie. Bye
Okay.
bye.
And, thank you.